Hello and welcome to United Astronomy Clubs of New Jersey. Sorry about that temporary internet disruption. I know we lost a couple of you when, unfortunately, technical gremlins attacked. We have since beaten them back with the the dust bunny getter. So hopefully that won't happen again. But anyway, we do, like I said, want to welcome you back to our online program. So, we are going to be doing part 2 of this build because unfortunately I cannot build as fast as professional Lego builders. We have found that out last week. But first off, a few things. We at United Astronomy Clubs of New Jersey do want to thank you guys for all your support and help, even just viewing, hitting those like and subscribe buttons on this channel lets us know we're doing a good job and keeps us going, offering this free public content. If you do feel like supporting, you can check us out on our website, uacnj.org. It's where you're going to find a list of not only all our upcoming presentations that we have scheduled, but also information on the science and astronomy we do at the observatory, and information on our member clubs, because we are a club made up of other clubs, and we do believe one of the best ways to get into astronomy is to find the club nearest you. They're going to have a lot of tips and tricks specific to your area, and you're going to meet a lot of neat people that way. You can also check us out and follow us on our social media. We have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have a Discord server, all great places to get in touch with us, share your astronomy journey and pictures, and even just ask questions. So, with that, we're going to get into tonight's program. And this is where I would normally introduce our upcoming speaker, but the speaker is me, so I get to introduce myself. I'm Kim Trumpore. I've been involved with astronomy at UACNJ since I started dating my now fiance, Chris. It's since snowballed into more and more responsibility. I'm currently on the executive board at UACNJ as secretary, which means I end up being one of the people trying to develop new programs and trying to make sure we stay funded enough to pay the bills. And tonight's program, like I said, is about eclipses, transits, and occultations. I had given this briefly last week, and while we're doing that, I'm going to be trying to build the Lego orrery, although they call it the Planet Earth and Moon in Orbit set, which is 526 pieces, age rated 10 and up. A 10-year-old might have been able to do it clearer. As a recap, we did get most of the way through the base. I don't know if we don't have the overhead cam, do we?
Side camera.
We have side camera. So we have, there we go. We have the base here, which we got halfway through. We have a hand crank and a whole bunch of gears and differentials there, so that even though the hand crank can go really fast, when it goes through the gear reductions and whatnot, do we have a handheld flashlight? So maybe I can give, because that just looks like the abyss with black Lego on black Lego. There we go. We can kind of see things now. Trying not to, but now when we turn the crank, we can see that, and that is the gears, so that it'll make the Earth and Sun not only rotate, but orbit around each other. With that, so tonight's presentation, like I said, eclipses, transits, and occultations. We did this last week, so this is mostly just review at this point. Where a lot of what eclipses, occultations, and transits are about are in fact shadows. When we have an eclipse, we're passing through, or an object is casting a shadow, which means we cannot see the object, or it's much dimmer. There are different types of shadows involved, especially when you're talking on the planetary scale. You have the umbra, which is the darkest. I got the moon here, which is, so we have a light here, and the shadow that falls here directly behind the light is the umbra. The next one is the antumbra. So as the light comes in, it kind of forms this, but you still have it forms a cone, and on the opposite side is an equal but opposite cone, and that equal but opposite cone is the antumbra. And last but not least is the penumbra, which is still a shadow, but slightly less shadowy part that fills out the entire rest of it, which you can see here on the slide. Put the moon back. So a transit happens when an apparently smaller object moves in front of a big object. This is important because we use that through a series of very complicated measurements that I don't quite understand, but other people do, to help us find exoplanets, to help us find other celestial bodies as they pass in front of that object. So like a distant planet passing in front of its star, that would be a transit. Or if we get to Mars, when Mars passes when Earth then passes in front of the sun, and we can see that from Mars, that means the Earth would be transiting. Let's use the correct arrow key on the correct computer. An occultation is when that apparently smaller object goes behind the apparently bigger object. So, not this week. The week before, we had an occultation of, hey, Jeff, the one computer is telling me it's going to die. Where's the power for it?
Wiggle the power plug over there. Is there a white light on it?
No.
What about now?
Well, the screen's brighter.
Okay.
Cool. The lovely thing about live content is you get to live troubleshoot when things decide to attempt to die. And we are trying to attempt to avoid the technology dying. Let's see, like I said, occultation. We just had one recently where Mars passed behind the moon and came out the other side. I believe... Did I get Chris to share that on the Facebook or on the Discord channel?
Share what?
The, his footage and pictures of the occultation of... I will have to get him to share that on our Discord channel. Yes, Red Dog. Live troubleshooting. But yeah, anyone who happened to get pictures of that, like I said, do share that on our Facebook, on our Discord channel. I'd love to be able to see those. Likewise, I believe we had light aurora around, so if anyone has pictures of that, feel free to share on those as well. So, and as you can see the graphic there that just showed well, that was the sun passing in front of the Earth and moon, but you get the idea. And then the most common form of celestial bodies passing in front of each other, eclipses, which we all know and love. They're great events. I would suggest if you can ever get out to a live eclipse, especially if it's a total eclipse, go do that. It is a wonderful experience. A lot of the time, I have not been, unfortunately, had obligations, meaning I can't travel that far. But someday, I hope to be able to go see one in totality. Of course, there are your two main groups of eclipses from our perspective here on Earth of lunar and solar eclipses. Solar eclipse is when the Earth moves through the shadow of the sun and the moon, because yes, the moon is very much smaller than the sun. It happens to be at just the right distance where it can completely or almost completely usually occlude the viewing of the sun. And then you have the lunar, where the moon falls within the Earth's shadow because the Earth is between the sun and the moon. And like I said, with solar eclipses, you can break it down even more into partial, where we're just kind of skimming along that line where the moon passes over the sun but doesn't quite cover it all the way. A annular, where it would, but because the orbits are not perfectly circular and even all the way around, when the when the orbit is at its closest, it doesn't quite completely cover the sun, and therefore you get a ring of the sun around the moon. And then you have total, where this everything has lined up, where the sun appears slightly smaller than the moon, and it completely blocks out the sun's light. Alright, and we have a couple slides here going over each of these solar eclipses. Like I said, this is a review. If there are any questions, feel free to ask them. I am monitoring chat live, so we don't have to do a question and answer session at the end. But I also want to get to trying to finish building the set so we can kind of demonstrate how these alignments work. And of course, the total solar eclipse. One thing I do want to say with eclipses, we should never be looking directly at the sun. That harms our eyes on even a good day. On an eclipse day, because our brain is tricked into thinking, oh, there's less light all around, that must mean it's safer to look. No. Through science that I don't quite understand, the rays actually kind of concentrate, especially if you're trying to observe these events through something that magnifies, such as a telescope or a camera, and you can actually burn your retinas, and you can completely destroy the light sensitive photo chips in a camera. I have seen people melt holes in their solar safety glasses because when we are viewing the sun and we are viewing the sun directly, we should be using a filter. And this solar filter should be ISO rated with a number I don't remember. I wish I had remembered to look that up. I'm sure someone you could definitely look up the certification of what your glasses should be, but it blocks most of the light so that you are safe, but that only works if you are using it correctly. And by correctly, I mean that filter needs to cover the opening that is first collecting the light. So on a telescope, that means on the end of the tube that you've pointed toward the sun, not behind the eyepiece area. Because if it's behind the eyepiece area, you have now focused the rays of the sun, the light from the sun, down into a very tiny place. And you will do to your eyeballs what people used to do with Anson magnifying glasses, and we would like to avoid that. Another safe way to view an eclipse would be a pinhole projector or the like, where you are not directly viewing the eclipse, you are viewing the light through a very, very tiny hole, which shows you the phase of the eclipse you're going through. I had actually done a presentation with a craft on how to make a pinhole viewer last year, right before April, because in April we had the total solar eclipse going across North America. I do have some sources here on this page that I use to help inform this presentation, because there are professionals out there. I am not one of them. I am an amateur astronomer, but I do like to give people the best information there is, and as such, I do some research, and I figured you guys might want to know about said research. So we are going to get into building, because we have also learned Kim has trouble focusing on more than one thing at a time. So we left off with gathering these pieces, and we are on step 111, where we take this handle, put the spinny thing in, and kind of line that up and lock that through. The black peg goes in the middle, and the blue with the square goes off to the side. And then we are going to take this other piece that we were building and put it so that it's even with the end of that. Next, we're taking this T connector, putting it in. I believe this is the start. Like I said before, I believe this is the start of the arm, which the Earth and Moon will sit on. And then we take the long peg and the black tube, and that goes through that up top. In. I did that backwards. I wanted you to assemble that first, but still works. So we're going to go with it. And then we're taking this and attaching it through to this. Where that gets pinned together, and then I got it stuck. Okay, and then this rod, which rotates, connects over there. So now we have many spinning gears out to the arm. And then it wants me to take this other L piece and lock that in so it won't move. Then we're going to get 3 of these black half and half pieces and put 1, 2, and 3. But like I said, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them. Even if it isn't about what we talked about last stream or tonight, I'd love to answer any questions you have about the observatory, astronomy, and the likes. We need one of these that wants to go in the center. And it doesn't go in all the way because we are going to pin that in place after it gets pushed down on that. And locked in there. So next we need 4 of these long blue guys. We got, yes, long portion facing. Oh, this has us flipping. I'm like, that won't fit there. And that would be why. Because I skipped a step. Flipping it over. And then these 2 on the very end. Sorry there. And then we have this assembly, gray gear up. Line it up to sit on top, I believe is what they're. Huh. Cool. So we are building that arm out, and that little handle thing acts as a bearing so that it is somewhat supported. I just tore that apart again. That was less than ideal. I should avoid doing that. We need one of these and one of these and one of these, and this goes in the center. Then we get a blue peg. Where does the circle go? In the square hole. What about the triangle? In the square hole. Because I spend too much time on the internet. We got the two arch pieces. One of that, this boy, and one of the flat dude. Okay. Tiny 2-piece go together in the middle of the 2x3 with the feet on either end. And that goes covering everything. 2 lightsaber handles go in there. And then this, so helps if we orient correctly. We have the handle facing the correct way on the directions. And one of these days I will not pick it up by that. And then this goes on the side. And these lock into 2 bits. And that actually locks that in nicely. And now we are, as we turn the handle, we now have movement on the arm. So we have done the orbiting mechanism. It wants 2 more blue pegs. Handle. There. And that wants that in the side here. And all the way in. And then we need one of these black pegs and the little bike pedal thing. And that goes inside of this other rectangle with this blue rod going all the way through and, yep, getting this other bike pedal. So this is probably going to mirror the other side. And I am correct. So we get those two get together. onto that. Making a decorative piece to make things look slightly neater. And this, once again, goes there and firmly locks that into place. That ain't going anywhere. And now we turn this back around. We are taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, this gray piece. Oh, there is where it has us putting that. Over here on the back. Then we have the last long piece. This gray bit and the rod. So this goes in the end there. And there are two different sides to this, and the bumpy side goes out. Like so. I should probably build a little bit closer to the camera for you guys. I've been told. So this is a spacer for up here. So that should go there and slide on. And then this is telling me red piece, this, and this little doodad. Red piece, the short red piece goes into the lightsaber hand and makes the derpiest looking tiny lightsaber. And that gets this pointy indicator and gets put in the bottom here with the point facing down so that we can approximate what season things are occurring. Because with everything, this is Lego. Oh, Becca, this is, so what we did, we had a presentation on eclipses, transit, and occultations. And to help show how those work, we are making the Lego Technic Planet Earth, Moon, and Moon in Orbit set, which happens to be an orrery, which shows the Earth, the Sun, which rotates, with the Earth both rotating and orbiting around the Sun, and the Moon also rotating and orbiting around the Earth. But it's good to see you in. So we have completed step 137, and we are on to 138, where here comes the sun. Do-do-do-do. And now we know why these pegs are yellow. So that it holds. So it matches the sun. And we have a sun. And that should fit right on top there. But now, move that a little close for you guys. Now, as we rotate, this was supposed to go all the way in, apparently. Let's fix that. Now, as it rotates, we have the sun rotating. Oh, you were looking at the and I'm going to mispronounce it once again, the syzygy, where multiple planets get in a line, and now they all lined up and had that happen. Is it clear enough to actually see that tonight? I know some places like here are actually a bit overcast and cloudy. That means this one piece we have left goes in the spare parts bin, because our next step is opening bag 4. Now with useful lunch containers so that I don't have all the parts running away. Let's get some of the larger dudes out of there. And you don't have to answer if you don't want, but whereabouts are you? Because, yeah, I was also going to look in the backyard. Lately, we've been having a surprising amount of solar activity, and where we are, there's just this side of not too much light pollution, where we have been getting some aurora effects. And I live pretty... Oh, nice, you're in Massachusetts. Perfect. So you actually might also have luck. We'll see how tonight goes, if the solar activity is going to be high again. But if you don't live in a too light polluted area, you might be able to go outside and see if there's any aurora effect as well, because the solar activity has been a bit high. All right, so we are taking that and this, putting them together, and then we need the 4, half and half. But yeah, so the club, United Astronomy Club of New Jersey, is actually, as you would think, in New Jersey. And I'm located just over the border in PA, so fairly close, just enough to make it very easy when the weather's nice and there's something fun happening, where we can, as a observer at UACNJ, we can go use the telescopes there, or even set up our own telescopes on the ground. Let's see, we need one of these. Ironically, I also need one of those. One of those. And 2 of these. Okay, so this goes in the cross version, and that goes on one side, and we're double layering those. So there we go. Put that in, and then they want this here, like this. But yeah, we don't have any clubs associated with us up in the Massachusetts area, but there's always time. Are you part of any astronomy club? Because if you are not, I do suggest finding one local to you. especially if you're just starting out, because they are such a wealth of information. And it's why, I'm even part of this at it, because fiance got me in once and I never left. Let's see, we got the gear that snaps together. We have that, and it goes, I think that says the black part down with the gray part up. That slides over all the way through. We get another one. And now we have a really weird base for a tank. Two, three, four of these black pieces. My guess is this is going to be the... Well, it's less of a guess and whatnot, but this is going to be the platform for the moon, its orbit, and that's the bigger one's going to be the platform for the Earth. But I could be wrong. We shall see. This is upside down, and now we want two of these. That goes like that. And then this connects. I wonder how we're going to bridge the gap there. Oh, we're not. We're just going to flip that right on over. Neat. And then we are getting two more of these short red dudes. This two, and two of these long ones. And doing exactly like we did before. Oh no. That goes in the plus slot. That goes also over. We even that out. And then this goes just like that. And we copy what we did on the other side. And then those red pins lock everything into place, holding everything very solidly. I was about to say, it seemed we skipped things. Okay, so we're taking one of these long ones with 13 holes. That is the correct one. One of these, and three of these half and half tubes. Then that goes like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. More of these. 1 in, then 3 later. And that goes right up to the edge. Need one of those, this differential looking dude. And 2 blue guys. Oh no, come back here. Let's see. This one goes in the very end. This one goes with the tube facing side to side. Long side up. And long side up. Next, we're gonna take something shaped like a T. Oh, here it is. And 1 half and half. That goes in the middle like that. And lines up with the end there. And then we are attaching this through this section. Oh, what app are you using? I know there's so many apps out there. Have you been having luck with the app you are using? Okay, so we did that, we connected that. And now we are building the opposite side. But yeah, if, like I said, oh, Planet Finder, perfect. You might also want to check out local clubs, because a lot of times they have equipment and whatnot that you normally have to spend a pretty penny on to use. And many of, so like through our, we have a couple different telescopes on site, and by a couple more than 7. But the views of the various planets and objects actually changes depending on what telescope you're looking through. You're looking at the same object, but because of the different magnifications and light gathering abilities, the same object can actually look quite different depending on what scope you're looking through. So we have light through Jupiter through an 8-inch celestron. Dobsonian, which is what I have, is going to look radically different than Jupiter through our astrophysics telescope that we have set up. So it's always a fun time to go check out what other people are doing in your area. And if you're not sure where to find a club, if you are interested in getting involved or going to some events, I do suggest Google. And if Google fails you, actually get a hold of your local library, because often they have different resources, or much like UAC&J, we try and keep a good relationship with our local libraries so that people know we exist. And there have been several times we've done outreach for various organizations such as Scouting, or someone even donated so we would do a birthday. Thank you for following. you want a telescope, what's a good starter one? So that's a tough question. We actually have a whole series of presentations about figuring out what telescope you might want and what to do after you buy one. Go check them out. They're given by two of our observers, Dan Kirby and Paul Fisher. Great people, very knowledgeable. My suggestion is before you have your heart set on, I'm going to get this telescope, like I said, do reach out to your local club. Look through a lot of different scopes that you can for free. See what you want to do with the telescope and how much setup you're willing to go through. I am still a novice, so I don't want to be spending an hour or so setting up my telescope. I do, like I mentioned, I do have a telescope. It is an 8-inch Celestron Dom. I got it for the fact it doesn't require as much setup as other people do. If you're looking, as for example, if you're one of our astrophotographers who are looking to take images of the nebulas and galaxies, I'm not looking to take the pretty pictures. I think the pretty pictures are neat. I don't have the patience. So I wanted something where I can plop it down and start viewing. So if you're just looking for something like that, I would suggest looking into the Dobsonian style telescopes. And let me type that in chat. There we go. A Dobsonian style telescope is a great starter, but it's going to be limited. It does not track objects. You have to start learning the sky. In hold on, let me find this piece and then talk. Like I said, I'm challenged in some ways in doing two things at once. Let's see, this goes through the square bit, and then this goes on top like that. Okay. But if you're looking to take images and whatnot, I sincerely suggest, like I said, get in touch with your local club. Chances are they have a whole bunch of people who are into astrophotography. Hang out with them for a bit before you start going and purchasing telescopes. And don't just go out to your local department store, Walmart, and get the first scope you see on the shelf. Because there are telescopes that those of us who are a bit more active in astronomy have dubbed hobby killers. And what I mean by a hobby killer is people are going to buy this, take it out, get so frustrated by the setup and not being able to see anything real great because the quality of the optics is subpar, that it gets tossed haphazardly back into the box and shoved into a corner, put out on the side of the curb, and the person who got this never tries to touch a telescope again. And we don't like seeing people get frustrated like that. So let's see. Actually, I could probably exit out of that, and I could probably pull up the Celestron site for you guys. Hey Jeff, if you are listening out there, if we could have a scene change so we can share this window. There we go. If I can get a scene change
Sure.
quickly to the share page. Cool. So on screen shortly, you should be able to actually see the website that I brought up. So I brought up Celestron just for the fact that it's a name brand everyone knows and a lot of people trust. You don't have to go with this brand, and in fact, I do suggest you look at other brands because you never know if you're going to find a good sale, or you know, maybe you like the features in a different package more. But they are a good starting place to look at. So what I actually have is, there's a wide range of prices here. You can get a small one. I actually started out with a small one like this tabletop Dobsonian, but I started out with that because I won it for free when I went to NEAF. And NEAF is Northeast Astronomy Forum. And hope if you get a chance, I do suggest going there. There's vendors like Celestron, and Orion, astrophotography vendors. There's presentations. They've gotten people from NASA to talk. It's honestly an awesome time. But I won a free scope one year, and then I'm like, this is a nice scope. It got me views of the planets like Jupiter and Saturn. Mars wasn't out at the time that I did first light on it, and it has decent views of the moon. I had a filter for it for solar observing. Awesome little scope, but because it's small, you're not going to get a lot of galaxies. You're not going to get a lot of star clusters. I wasn't going to be able to take it and do a Messier marathon. And for clarification, because I know someone, oh, that's great that Mars is out. We're still clouded over, I think. So we won't be able to see Mars as much as I would like to. But I actually have, and what I mean by Dobsonian, I'm going to click on the 10-inch here. And 10-inch refers to the size of the light gathering mirror in this case. So you have the big tube on this little like Lazy Susan base. You plop that down. You figure out what you want to see is, and you point your telescope at that. Oh yes, it may be a bright red star, but unfortunately clouds say that even short of that star literally coming through the atmosphere, uh, we're not going to be able to see it. And that is just a limitation of what you can do in real life. I did that backwards, didn't I? Yes, I did.
Be back to building.
Yes. But I figured we could take a second and look at the types. But at least that Dobsonian is close to what I have. Oh yes, definitely check out our social media. Hit those like and share buttons. If you have any questions, especially, once you have a telescope, if you have questions about setup or whatnot, uh, feel free to contact us, and we'd love to be able to try and help you. And then we need one of these black 1/2. And we're putting it on the other side like that. Okay. You need tiny gear and beige piece. Gear goes in there. And then this I think just goes in there. That's no problem, Mom. But yeah, we're slowly getting through. We do have the sun now. The sun does in fact rotate. And we are working on the platform that will hold the Earth and the Moon. So next we need a rod that I'm not seeing. Oh, there it is. It blended in. Yep, that is the correct size, and we're gonna put that approximately where that says to put that. And then drop that through. And then we're going to take one of these 7 pieces and something that looks like a car differential. That goes in the end. To the naked eye, it can appear star-like. But we knew what the fun thing about communication is, as long as we all understand what each other is talking about, we usually we're good. But just because I know technically correct is the best correct, but we don't need to be butts about it. Then we got the 2 blue. Then we need 2 white ones. And it looks like this gray one. Yeah, so sometimes the autocorrupt gets the best of all of us. And then we got another one of these black with the 7. And another fork piece. And that goes on the other side here. Mirroring. And then we need one of these gears. And one of the small ones. Big gear goes there. Small gear goes there. And links in. We need tube on top of the small gear. And then this slides over that. And it looks like I need one of these gray bars to lock that into place. And then we're flipping this over. And we need one of the fork dudes. And that holds those in place. And it's probably apparently we're only doing that on one side. We need one of these still flipped over. That side down. We need one of these rings, another tan piece. And this goes on. Yeah, the tiny Lego parts can get you. But could you imagine the size of this thing if it was on the Duplo scale? Like those big chunky ones you have when you're a small child? I feel that would be far too big. And at the same time, I kind of now want to see that. Although I don't think they do have the Technic pieces for Duplo. Blue gear goes opposite. We getting there. Then we need one of these. and a blue. That's where it goes up. Blue goes through. That locks over. And then that gets put through. We need 6 of these. Oh, perfect. Yeah, I think a couple people shared some Aurora pics from their area. I know a number of people did on our Facebook page on our Aurora post. So thank you. I love looking at them. And I just had a Lego escape. Let's not do like I did last night or last Saturday and step on them. Cause that was painful. I lost a piece and I found it right at the end when I stepped on it. It was a very not fun time. So this goes in the top like that. And I do the same thing on the other side. So now we have that together. We need a gray dude. This top of a chain link fence. We need that times 2. This. And then we rotate that so we can put that. Assuming I can get my fingers to work. Here we go. And then we need 4 more of these small pigs. And we need 3 of these. So, on either side. Because we're doing that twice. One of these goes there. I should put that on last because that just popped off. Things are running away. And now we need the second one of these gray rings. The last of these gold pieces and the last of this tan piece. Short side. Roller bit. This goes down. Oh no! we're gonna do this the Does it really matter what's that's on? No. I'm gonna say no. There we go. And now we have a cage for that. And now we need four things that look like this, I think. Four of these washer looking things. And four doorknob pieces. This looks like we're getting down into the nitty-gritty. Tiny Lego pieces are tiny and decorative. And I know some people, what they did after they built this was they tried to use tiny Sharpie, one of the super fine point, and actually draw like the features of the moon on the moon. Which makes me curious because I don't see the moon pieces. Or is this the moon? This might be the moon. Okay, all four of those are in. And now we're going to use stickers again. So one, I feel the positioning of the stripe is probably important. It wants it on this top ring. Two. Line down on the exact opposite side. Then four. Why we're doing four before three, I don't know, but I'm just glad they've numbered the stickers. Four. Blue towards me. Line down. And that lines up in the middle of those two pegs. And this lines up in the middle of those two pegs. And it just shows the various what phase the moon should be as it's rotating. And we're probably going to use this piece to actually indicate that. Red. Hold on, I need to grab a drink because I've been talking for a bit. But are there any more questions about astronomy or what's up in the sky? Yellow side up. I feel like that should go. Oh, I honestly don't see where this is supposed to go. Does it go just in the middle there? That doesn't seem right. What is the probability that the moon is the exact distance in between the Earth and the sun to provide a total eclipse? I'm not gonna lie. I don't know the exact probability. I do know that you can math it out and that over time that probability is changing as the moon actually gets farther from the Earth. But usually we have, I feel like we don't go overly long between chances of seeing a total eclipse on Earth. Um, but yeah, that is something I would have to look up that I don't know off the top of my head. Um, Fun facts of being an amateur is you don't know everything, and sometimes it's best to admit that. Um, will the fires in California affect viewing in the future? Yeah, there is a good chance that that can affect viewing. I don't. Was it a year or two ago? When Canada had all those wildfires, we got all the smoke, and we had all here on the East Coast, we had all the smog warnings, and the sky was legit yellow, and you could, I won't say safely, but view the sun without as much proper filtering as you would normally because the smog was so thick. Yeah, that it can in fact affect viewing in the future. Whether it will get out East Coast really depends on how bad it is and how the wind goes. I am really confused as to where this piece is supposed to go. I feel like it's supposed to go in the center, but there's nothing in the center. Did I do that upside down? Hold on. Going back. Ooh, I messed up a while back. If what I think happened, happened. What I thought happened, happened. Luckily, it's not too bad of a fix, because I just need to flip it over. Oh, look, there's a place that part can actually go now. Hello, Mitchell. The hazards of not exactly following the directions we have found out. Oh, that works so much better. Cool. Now that I've figured that one out, we can move on building, and it looks like we'll have a full working model soon. But welcome in. How are you doing? And then this goes over and slots in the two down there. Two of these. One of these. One of these. Two of these. But let's see. Cross peg into there. And then match that. And then this goes 90 degrees to that. And clicks in there. We have another one of these gray gears, which tops off that column. That is the correct size. But I am so glad I brought the handy dandy Tupperware. We found the handy dandy Tupperware of not losing all the pieces. Because oddly enough, not having to chase down the pieces is, it's definitely an advantage. World's worst nunchuck. And then this drops right down into the center. And then we need 2 of these red dudes, 2 of these, 2 of these, and 1, 2 of these. And this should hold the Earth at an angle. Not quite the correct... not quite the correct angle for the sun. Again, we are working within Lego constraints, and there is only so accurate Lego can be. They are doing their best, though. And then this holds the drive shaft at as correct of an angle as Lego can muster. So now that we have that, it wants us to build the Earth. And I should probably take the time to line up the correct continents with each other. But yeah, we have North and South America. We have Europe, Asia, Australia. And we'll even put it so, let's see. I have a feeling if we line it up correctly to start, the moon phases will actually find out Kim did it backwards again. But never fear, we can fix that. The Earth is running away. And now we can place the Earth. Yes, the North Hemisphere is facing north. And now we take this connector, this connector, this connector. This spinny goes on the tube, and that tube goes on the end. And then we need the last red peg, and one of these black. But thank you for the encouragement. But yeah, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here. We're getting close to putting the moon on. We need this. That goes with that facing that, and this goes facing up. We need a stand and the moon. And now it has us where if that faces that, and that goes in its holder, it should tell us as we rotate around what phase the moon should look like from the Earth. And actually, maybe you can see it better if I hold it over here. But yeah, the moon can now go around the Earth. And fun fact about the moon, it is tidally locked, so but astronomy is the only time you can moon people in public and not get in trouble. Besides, what fun is it if you can't have a little? Oh, yes, we're gonna get into those jokes now. Keep it. We are a family-friendly channel here, so we are going to keep it PG. uh, I don't know if fidget toy is the correct term, because I don't think I'd want to carry this around to fidget. So, no. These are definitely not to scale, but it is a nice tool to try and observe what the mechanism and what's actually happening. A couple things to note. While this scale is close, the scale of the sun to everything is way off. Another thing that is not to scale are the distances. Because the distance between the Earth and the sun is one astronomical unit, and the distance from the Earth to the moon is much less than that. And when we finally get to attach this on the end there, it is not going to be at the correct distance nor the correct size. Why is this important? Like I said, this is for visualizing how the moon orbits around the Earth, and that system simultaneously orbits around the sun. So we have this here, and then it wants me to put this so that meshes up with the blue gear. So no, not quite to scale. Again, we are working within the confines of a Lego-based system. And I think, like, even when there's a lot in the air, there's a, I don't know if there's a lot, but occasionally you can find places that do solar walks. For example, at Jenny Jump State Forest, on the hiking trails, we actually plotted out a solar walk, where there are signs, and the distance between the sun and each of the planets is relative to each other. Uh, and it says on the sign markers there at each of the stops about what the size of that object would be at the scale for that walk. And I believe another one of our member clubs, NJAA, also has a solar walk that does similar. So you can find them. But when you're talking about this scale, a lot of things would be so minute as to be not very Lego friendly. And then this says it goes like that. Oh, it wants us to do this at a certain phase. So gotta rotate the sun around to the correct phase so everything can be in alignment. Everything is in alignment. Maybe. That wants to click in there. We need the L and these three. These three go like that. And gets this. But yeah, I had actually done some research into the scale of this. Let's see if I could pull it up. So the size relationship of the moon to the Earth, where the moon is approximately 1/4 of the diameter, is close-ish. But the distance the moon is from the Earth is a bit off. And the sun should be approximately 23,000 Earth radiuses, radii, away from the Earth. So the distance between, let's not spill the Lego, here and here is off. There is also, because we're dealing with Lego gearing, we're slightly off on the number of days it's supposed to, so with the 3 Earth rotation or days per turn of the crank, so this has about 27 days per lunar orbit. um, and about 13 and a bit lunar periods per year, where that should actually be like 12 point something. I forget the link. Let me see if I can grab the link that I had. And get that to you. No, that link unfortunately disappeared. But if you Google if the Lego Technic Planet Earth and Moon in Orbit set is correct, there was a wonderful article done by an engineer who actually figured out the math and the gearing. And I do suggest checking that out because that was super neat and why I know it is not exactly to scale. But again, we're dealing with Lego. And then this apparently goes here. At the bottom. $207. We grab this. And figure out how to get that to snap in. But it did. Ta-da! We have done it. We have built a thing. So, we now have a completed orrery. Where, as you can see, you can probably see better there. I'm going to turn it the other way for ease of cranking. We have the moon orbiting the Earth, which is spinning very rapidly. We have the sun, which also rotates. Another thing to note is this has the orbit all on one plane. So if this were in real life, we would get a lot more eclipses than we do. But because the Earth and Moon orbit is tilted, we get a lot less eclipses because it's not all the time that when, for example, the Earth is between the moon and the sun, or the moon is between the Earth and the sun, where the shadow lines up to fall across the face of the Earth. No, I'm, again, not that technically inclined where I can repair a garage door opener. I can replace the batteries, though. I can, in fact, successfully replace some batteries. Occasionally. But as for actually fixing anything wrong with a garage door, probably not. I am pretty good at Google, though. So why did we do this? Because this is a great example of objects transiting and occulting across each other. I actually think they did consult with people for the model, because there are many things they actually got correct. While things are off, it's not excruciatingly off. But they took the time to do research to have the marker showing about where the moon should be in its cycle, where it's visible from Earth. They have markers showing, right now, this configuration would be somewhere between November and December. So they did do their research. They added in the axial tilt of the Earth. So they worked within what they had without having to do too many new pieces where they would have to design and cast extra new pieces. But they did do fairly well. I think I would have liked it a little bit more if these feet were weighted down a little bit more. Just because the weight of this does make it feel a little bit unstable at times. But this is an awesome tool that you could take, for example, if you're a teacher trying to teach science and how things orbit, how things rotate in space. This is going to be a nice tool, because at that level you're not concerned with as much of, oh, is the math exactly right? You're concerned that you can show these mechanisms happening. But I'm going to put in a last call for any questions, just because I don't want to run too overly. Yeah, my school actually did not have an orrery where they could show this. I don't even think we had a video of this at the time. But I mean, if you are a teacher, this could, perhaps not for very small hands unless small hands don't touch it, this could be a useful tool for demonstrating it. This model is actually fairly new. I don't know when exactly this model came out, but it was, I want to say, within the past 5 years. And as far as orreries go, orreries tend, especially ones that are more accurate in timing or scale, tend to be very expensive. Bill Nye the Science Guy. Bill. And with that, I have completely dated myself and exasperated one of the older volunteers at my organization, because I just heard the deep "I'm disappointed with you" sigh off from the corner. But yeah, were there any other questions before we wrap this up? I do want to thank you all for joining us here at United Astronomy Clubs of New Jersey. Let's see. Like I said, do check us out on our website. Let me get that here for you. And also, we have our social media you can check out. If you happen to be in the Twitch chat, you can !socials, or we also have links to them on our website. We also have an online store where you can get some sweet merch, and profits from that, like I said, do go to paying the bills and helping us offer more free public programs and content. I want to thank you all. Do hit those like and subscribe on YouTube and Twitch, whichever free actions there are, unless you are feeling generous, at which point you can do the paid option. I will never stop. Uh, how long did I learn space for? So I was actually not into space, uh, really until I started dating my fiance. And that was, I want to say, about 10 years ago. And since then, and getting involved at United Astronomy Clubs of New Jersey, um, I've learned so much, to the point where now I feel comfortable being able to give a presentation. You know, we all start somewhere. And at one point, I was a person who really didn't know too much except what elementary and high school taught. And now I'm giving presentations. So, um, I've been learning for a while, and I intend on keeping on learning for many more years to come. Uh, and really looking forward to what's going to come of space exploration in the next few years. I'm I'm really super interested in that. But yeah, thank you all. And with that, I want to wish everyone clear skies and great seeing. We'll see you next time. I believe since this is the last Saturday in January, that our next Saturday is actually the first Saturday in February.
Yes.
I can actually check that on my calendar.
Yeah,
I am correct. It's February 1st. So next week, we will be live with a presentation, What's Up in the February Sky with Lonnie Bunis. Another great presentation. If you're just getting into astronomy, um, you'll get to kind of have a feel for what you're going to see in the night sky in the coming months. With that, everyone have a great night. We'll see you then.